Hey, good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. You know, if I talk to you the way that you talk to you probably wouldn't want to be my friend anymore. In fact, you may punch me in the mouth. You know, self talk. I've been thinking a lot about self talk. Will you walk on a journey with me? I'm going to share self talk, give you a couple things to help you be, to have the self talk that really makes a difference. You know, I was listening to an interview recently with Alec Honnold. You know, Alec Honnold, free solo, the guy that has climbed El Capitan, etc., no ropes. And he was having an interview with Adam Grant. And Adam Grant was asking him, you know, how do you stay motivated, man? How do you not succumb to fear? And Alex responded with, well, I don't use anything first person when I'm talking to myself. I don't say, I got this. I say, Alex, you got this. I don't say, I'm not afraid. I say, Alex, you're not afraid. You got this. So he talks everything into like he's a third person talking to him. And my interpretation of that in the moment was that that's probably because we all spend so much time negative self talking that when we talk to ourselves, it's have a hard time believing it. But if somebody else is talking, maybe we do believe it. So I had to do some research on it. There's a guy by the name of Ethan Kross, Kross. He's a psychologist. He's written a book. He's done a ton of research on self-talk and its effects on motivation and performance. And there's an aspect of his research that he calls self-distancing. In other words, using that third person or second person pronoun instead of the first person pronoun. So according to his findings, really using self-distancing language is more effective in regulating your emotions. It's to increase motivation compared to just the first self-talk. So three things. Let me just kind of summarize it very briefly. One, if you can talk using the second person, you, then you have enhanced self-control. In other words, it helps you overcome self-doubt and increase your belief in your abilities. Number two, you have greater objectivity and self-reflection. By using you or your own name, you can step back and view the situation from an external perspective instead of being caught up in the middle of it. And then the third one is believable. It's more believability and emotion. When you address yourself as you, it creates the perception that someone else is encouraging or advising you, which can strengthen your belief in your abilities. Now, I think back on an experience. This goes 10 years ago. Now, we always talk about always make your learning greater than your experience. And if you have these experiences and you can keep them, they'll continue to teach you with new information. So I recall going back over 10 years, Lori and I traveled to be camp parents at a camp for young adults living with cancer. And while we were there, we experienced so many different emotions and so many different things that happened. But you know, interestingly enough, every camper that comes there, we throw away their existing name and give them a new name. So Lee Brower is no longer Lee Brower, he's Wacky. So everybody referred to me as Wacky. So Nathan is no longer Nathan, he's Scooter. And based on their own words, they actually look at the challenge and they'll say, well, Nathan couldn't do it, but Scooter can. Oh, this is all coming together. And I remember a moment. They were the ones who were climbing. I'm belaying. I'm encouraging. I'm doing all these things. But then at the end of one day, we had two guys that were really good climbers who had testicular cancer. And one was left, one was right, in case you want to know. But anyway, they were both good climbers. And they climbed up this 80 some odd high, sheer, straight up and down cliff. And for some reason, the campers got around me and said, Lee, you can do this. And man, I did not want to do it. It scared me to death. I saw how hard it was for them. They had the build for it. They had the experience for it. And they kept going, Lee, you can do this. Now, what do you do? How do you say no? So I strapped in. I looked up at it and I said, I got this. I can do this. And I couldn't. I couldn't get up 7, 8 feet. And I'd over and over again. And they're going, you can do it, Lee. You can do it. And then finally I said something really weird. I said, Lee, be a cat. I don't know where that came from. I didn't understand it in the moment, but it's that third party, Lee, be a cat. So I became a cat. And it took me a while, but I climbed up that crack, no edges, 80 some odd feet, made it to the top. I cried when I got there. It was so emotional because I did it. But it was that third party influence that helped me do it, that gave me that believability that they talk about. How powerful is that? So I break it down into three things, really. First of all, since January 2nd, I challenged everybody, January 2nd of 2022, to look in the mirror every day and say, I love you. And I don't think I've missed a day. I do not think I've missed a day. But I have looked into the mirror every day and I've said something to the following like this. I say, Lee Brower, I love you. Lee Brower, God loves you. So I see two things there. One is we've got to see ourselves the way we are. Number two, we've got to have a belief in a higher power. But putting those two together. And then I created an empowering question that I added to my ritual based upon a Meaningful Monday. And I asked myself the question, I say, Lee, what choices are you going to make today that your future self will say thank you? And then I look at it and say, I give a high five and I'm off. Now, that's all working on self-talk. I don't know, but I challenge you. I challenge you to start a meaningful practice of looking in the mirror, to see yourself, to tell yourself how much you love, to tell yourself how much God loves you, and to believe in what you see. And just see if your self-talk doesn't help you become even better. Have a meaningful week. I look forward to talking to you next week. Bye-bye.